Hi, and welcome back to In My Hometown with Jamie Stein, where we get into the business of our neighbors.
We are so glad that you are back with us, and we have got a packed show today. We, of course, have the Women Tell All recap of all of the drama and fun that happened. And then Pascal and I are going to be joined by Jackie Pilossoph, who is the founder of Divorced Girls Smiling. She has built the most incredible community of trusted professionals and resources for people navigating divorce. And we're going to talk with her a little bit about, in particular, people going through divorce later in life. And so I can't wait for that conversation. And Pascal has been teasing it for the past couple of weeks. And so we're really excited about it. But first, we are going to talk Women Tell All. And this was this a juicy episode? I think it was.
I felt like it was a little tension between them, particularly with Debbie and Nicole.
Yes.
And I felt like, it was interesting actually to see the difference, because I've lived through the Men Tell All and I see the camaraderie and everybody was sharing. It was no tension. I felt like there was a little tension between some of them last night.
Who did you watch with last night?
I watched it by myself, actually.
Okay.
I just wanted to focus on the show. I just decided that I wanted to be alone, watch it, take some notes. As you know, I take a lot of notes.
Right.
I don't read them well.
Your large print notes on your phone. Everyone, that is why he's looking at his phone.
I look at my phone, not because I'm rude, it's because I take my notes. Yeah.
But so you watched alone. I watched alone as well,
Yeah.
but I watched while texting my mom and a couple of my girlfriends, Steph and Karen. So going back and forth. So I really enjoyed that. But I think you and I going into that episode, we were like, what's going to happen? And I think that the Golden Bachelor the producers had put a lot of teasers out there that seemed some juicy things. And so we were anticipating that there were going to be some maybe contentious moments or moments and they did end up happening, in particular the folks going after Nicole a little bit.
Nicole become very emotional and start crying and said, I was really in love with you, Mel. I just think then, again, you know my feeling about Nicole's. Yeah. I think she was there just to get famous and built up a social network.
Right.
And I think the girl knew that, I think. When they were talking to her, it was kind of a little bit off.
Luke, do we want to put up some of the pictures? We have a picture of all of the ladies from it. And so, and not every one of the 23 or 24 contestants were there. They talked a lot about Diane not being there. She was away.
She was in a wedding, the daughter or son, something like that.
She was we don't have a picture of her, but she had the short hair at the beginning. She was only on the first episode. And then we had the other ladies, and Carla was there. I mean, and some of the ladies, I didn't even know their names.
No, because you remember the show went so fast, then they get eliminated quickly.
Right. I had to look through my notes. Exactly.
Yes.
So I think like Alexandra, what struck me, let me say this. There were some cringe moments for me, like cringe. I felt like the cringe moments were Nicole's tears, as you mentioned. And it was almost an acting, like a performance that she went through. And they went to a couple of the audience members who were all laughing and had some, interesting reactions to her tears. Another cringe moment that I had was when Jessie we have a picture of Cheryl up on the hot seat. And he said to her, you were so close to bringing Mel home. And it was like, I think he really was trying to get her to get upset and sort of feel that she was almost there and she just didn't bring it over to the edge. And I thought that was cringy to me.
I just think then, it's not easy to be in camera and having a conversation and being filmed. It's very hard to be yourself when you have a group of people around you. And I think that's what's happening with Cheryl. I think she was.
I'm going to remind you.
I know, because I'm losing. Thank God I'm not the Golden Bachelor, because I will have to have a list with the roles.
I wondered if they have
I'm confused with names,
okay,
but
right,
it's okay.
I know that. Okay, we'll keep you on track.
So I think she was, she wasn't aggressive enough. And then not only that, but I think she showed too much emotion. I'm in love. I'm feeling in love.
Yeah.
could you have feeling? I agree with you. Could you have a start connection? That's great, but start falling in love. It takes time.
Yes.
And I think that's probably what Mel felt a little bit like she was too much ahead of him.
Right.
And you know,
I will say, so later when he came out and they were all asking him questions, Cheryl said to him, "I wish I could have been braver with you." And she really has, I think, needed some closure on this, because I think she left the show feeling that she didn't do enough and what could she have done differently. And so I did feel that Mel, the one compliment I'm going to give him is that he cut her off and said, "You were brave. You said it all. You talked about your son and your grandkids, and you gave me your story. Thank you. But it didn't happen." Right? Instead of her sort of thinking, I didn't have enough time to tell him more about myself and more this should have happened. I think so. I feel good that he did that, and I hope that she moves on.
Yeah, I think she will.
Okay.
I think she will. She's
All right.
an attractive looking woman. She's kind. She's sweet.
Yes,
She's
classy.
pretty. She's classy. I think her being in a national TV like
Yes,
that
she's
will
gonna
have
get
a
some dates.
lot of opportunity. I'm not worried for her.
So I agree. So
Yeah.
then, but she was a front runner, and I think we all were.
Yeah,
a little
she had
bit
the
surprised.
first impression
Yeah, we
rose,
were,
I believe,
yeah.
yes.
No, she did not get the first. She got the
didn't?
first date. That
Oh, the
very
first date. You're
exciting-
right.
yeah.
She had the first date. I'm
princess
sorry.
date,
Yes,
the
yes.
princess date. All right. So next, we're going to go, Luke, to the picture of Debbie.
Yes.
She was talking about how she had put it all out there for him, and I don't know. What did you think about her?
Debbie is kind, sweet. I think she's got, personally, she needs some therapy to be able to go over her feeling. I think she even asked Mel, didn't you choose me because I've never been married, because I don't have children? I think that sometimes was really obviously affect her.
Yes.
And Mel said, no, absolutely not.
What do you think
me,
of that?
Yeah, I mean, to be quite honest with you, you're a mother, I'm a father. And, when you're parents, it's
Did
not
you say I'm a
just...
model or a
No,
mother?
a mother,
Okay.
a mother.
'Cause
You're a model, but you're a
I'm just
mother.
joking,
Okay.
I'm joking.
I think as a mother and as a father, we have learned how to give. It's not just about us.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yeah.
I do a lot of sacrifice for my children, like you do. When you're single, it's about you. I want to wake up at 10 o'clock. I wake up at 10 o'clock. I want to go and take a walk. I take a walk. But when you have children, so there is a big, and personally, I like to date women who has been a mother, who has children, because they understand what I went through, and we have sometimes in common than dating a woman who never had children, who's always there for herself, and that's my feeling. So
Yeah, I think it was that, and I also think that the lifestyle was different. I think that we talked a little bit about that last week. I just think he gravitated towards Cindy and Peg and sort of what they were, and I don't even know if he's admitting it to himself as to why he didn't choose Debbie. Again, it's his
he never said anything about it yesterday. He said,
right. I think he gave her the answer that she wanted to and needed to hear, which was no, you never being married and never having children had nothing to do with my decision. And, and she took it. And I think that's, again, like what she needs to go and have this next beautiful chapter for her, because I truly believe, and I have been having some text exchange with Debbie. She's awesome, and I think she is going to, as we all have. We've been talking with all the ladies.
They
we love
already
it.
have been
We love
reaching
it.
out, so which is amazing. They're watching our podcast.
Exactly.
They love what we
And
have to
we're
say.
loving it.
They all want to be on the hot seat, and I think
Yeah.
eventually we will in the future.
I love
Yeah.
when we call each other and we're like, I just heard from
Yeah.
Peg. So, but getting back to it, Debbie has, I think, realized her worth. And I think this is going to be a turning point for her. And I think it's going to be amazing. Whether or not she's chosen as the Golden Bachelorette, which I think they're probably considering at this point. But I think she's got big things ahead. So,
But I think what then was very interesting, I think that was the camaraderie they had among us when they wanted Peg to wear the wedding dress. She wanted to pick up the bathing suit and be in the Baywatch, and they said, no, you should wear the dress. And I think that was very emotional for her, and that was a good thing from the group of the women doing that for her to just give her a little bit of an experience. And she was very emotional when she was talking about that.
She was, and I was actually glad that she shared that, because if you remember, we talked about that on the pod before, and we were sort of saying the producers did her dirty in making her wear this white dress.
I
and all
agree.
That. And now we're hearing
now we know
it
that
wasn't them.
Yeah, then the girls will say, "Hey, let's do it. You never been married. Let have your moment."
Right. So I love hearing that.
Yeah, that was sweet. So it's to show you then there was much more camaraderie among them than competition among them, which is what happened when we were with the Golden Bachelor and my friend. There was no competition. We were all supporting each other and helping each other to the best win. I mean, that's what it is.
And I think one of the ladies said that. I mean, I think you guys modeled it. As my mom always says, you need to model behavior, and your season with the men really did model the relationships. I'm not saying that other relationships haven't been made on the show and that they haven't shown that in the mansion, but I think you would say your relationships were a bit more unique with the men. You've really remained very close with all of them. And I think this group of women sort of saw that and saw that they could have that too. And I think it was Robin who said that the real love story of the season, I loved this line, was their friendship.
Yeah, I mean, as today,
as
today we are about a group of 16 of us who are texting to each other all the time.
Yeah.
And last night, I didn't want to look at my phone, but after the show, I had 100 of text messages. What do you think of this? What do you think of that? How do you feel? I mean, it's very interesting, the camaraderie we were able to build, because we spend a lot of time together. We stuck in a house for 6 weeks with no social media, no phone, no TV, no news. So we get to know each other very deeply. And I think that's the same story with them,
Yeah, I agree. And so then there was a couple moments, like we said, where if you go back to the picture of all the ladies, where where I think Debbie said something to Nicole.
Yes.
Like you were, if you really want to be an influencer, I think it would be, you're going to need people to like you.
Yeah.
And I think then that gave license to a couple of the other women to sort of jump in. And then Carol said, we need to stop.
Enough. She said enough.
That was really the only time she talks. If we go to Carol, I love this. I love this new thing we're doing. So if we go to Carol, I was very struck by Carol not having a moment on the hot seat, or at least a moment in her chair where Jesse says, so talk about how
why did you leave? Why did you leave? Yeah.
Why do you think they didn't talk with her about that?
I don't know. I don't know. To be honest with you, I was surprised as well. And I like the fact that Carol said, hey, girls, enough.
Right.
Enough to pick up on Nicole. We've done that. And I'm surprised, like you, that she was not in the hot seat, particularly when she left on her own.
Exactly.
So
yeah, I would have liked to have heard just a little bit. I know this was recorded before, of course, the Dodgers are in the World Series with her nephew, Freddie Freeman. But I think at least, so that we weren't going to talk about that, but I at least wanted to have a moment where she talks a little bit about her being the only woman who left on her own sort of volition.
I think personally, my pick, if they go with the old way of picking up from the previous season, I think to me she will be the next Golden Bachelorette.
Hey, wow, we heard it here first. That is
I mean, I didn't hear anything. It's just my opinion.
Even think about that.
She left. She's classy. She's pretty. She's sophisticated. She's successful. She's got a lot of possess, and I think to me. They may be saving her for the next Golden Bachelorette.
Okay, I love it.
I'll sign up.
I love it. Right? Okay. Oh, wow. That would be hysterical. Okay.
I'll sign up.
Okay, maybe just a reality show of you two. All right, and then I think we've touched on this a couple times, but the Nicole piece and the tears was, again, is this her continuing play to get, to keep things going? I didn't really feel why the tears were happening. And then if you go, Luke, to the picture, she has the two ladies on her side just holding her hand while she's crying and telling Mel she didn't interview him. She said she didn't want to interview him during the date.
But she did. I know. She did. I mean, she didn't let him talk. She was keep asking question after question after question. The guy didn't have the time to respond. I think, she's trying to redeem herself right now. And, when you look back, and you look at yourself, your behavior, then you start saying, maybe I need to do something to revamp my image. And I think that's what she did. Show a little tear, show a little emotion there. I think trying to recap what the mistakes she made during the show.
Right.
You know, I mean,
reset and yeah. So maybe
and
she
they showed
did.
that
Maybe she did it.
they showed that during the show when she said, "I'm here to date America.
Yes.
I want to be an influencer." And then that's when everybody started bombarding on her, and then I mean.
So I think we really sort of covered it all. There was a lot of filler then in the episode. They had Alexandra come out with the massager / vibrator for a moment that again seemed very staged to me, and I didn't love it. Yeah. And then we had Jared Freed in the audience, and they had him do a little comedy segment, and then they showed outtakes from the rose. So it seemed like they were filling in.
Actually, I'm glad they did a little recap about the previous episode because they showed us a little bit more about the camaraderie among them. You know, when they had the pillow fight, when they did the laughing and stuff like that. I think that's something we didn't see during the show. We didn't see like they were bonding together personally. I think the recap showed us a little bit like they had a little more fun than we were seeing during the season.
Yes, I would agree with that. But I think where I was going is just what felt like they didn't have enough content for this episode and of this Women Tell All, and it just seemed that they were filling it with a comedy bit here and then with go back to that. That's a great photo. So Mel, we didn't even talk about Mel. Okay, so quickly Mel comes out.
Yeah.
And again, man of few words. He's consistent, guys. He's consistent. So he really didn't say much, and this was his face most of it.
I mean, you know, again, I think I said that in the past.
Yeah.
I don't know him, and we never had. And I hope one day we'll have a chance to have him in the hot seat.
I do too.
Because I would like to get to know him in a deeper level. But the projection Mel give the world, you know, I mean, he's just a nice guy, but he's a man of few words.
Yeah.
And I think to be the lead, I personally think, and I said that in the show I did yesterday on ABC, I don't think he was mentally, emotionally, and physically ready for that roles.
Okay.
I just think then, you know, his wedding, his divorce was too soon. And then all of a sudden you send him into 25 women. He hasn't really have much dating experience. He's still struggling from the divorce, I'm sure. This is not easy. And I think, you know, I mean, again, the franchise going to need to do a lot of work to be able to survive that season, you know?
Well, what you mentioned about his divorce, and I think that's something that we've talked a lot about, and that, you know, maybe it has affected him more than he even thought going into this. It certainly seems to be impacting how he's behaving in a way. He seems a bit guarded. We also know that many of the women have gone through a divorce, and that, you know, it's got to impact how you and influence and inform how you behave on the dates, whether or not it's on a TV show or in real life. And so that's maybe a good segue for us to bring in our guest who we have today, who I mentioned at the beginning is Jackie Pilossoph. So let's bring her in. This is fun. We're doing this for the first time.
So welcome.
Jackie. So, you know, as you sit down and get your microphone ready, I think, you know, like I said, we've seen a couple things over this season. We have seen that the ladies have left when Mel has let them go and said goodbye. They get into the limo, and we've talked about how they get in the limo and they're upset, many of them, but they have this newfound sort of excitement and feeling of this is, you know, I can love again, or I feel these butterflies again, and I can have another chapter that's happening. Many have talked about divorce, so and reinventing themselves, and so that's why we're so happy to have you here talking about divorce. As we said, you are an expert on this. I mean, you have you've started this wonderful divorced girl smiling community. And so tell us a little bit about what that is.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me, you guys. And I did watch the show last night, and I agreed with so much that you said. I started Divorced Girl Smiling in 2014. I had gone through a divorce in 2008. and I'm a journalist. That's my background. So I love to write. And when I got divorced, the only thing that made me feel better was to write down my feelings. And I do tell a lot of women going through a divorce, write it all down. It makes you feel better. It's helps you feel validated and heard. It's a really good coping mechanism for divorce. So that turned into Divorce Girl Smiling. I just started putting it out there online and built this huge community pretty quickly of women just like me who would say, wow, I went through that too. I feel the same way. And there was really nothing like it. And then over the years, it morphed into a podcast and videos. And then it really took shape with divorce professionals. When I got divorced, there were no people who specialized in divorce who were real estate agents and mortgage lenders and divorce coaches. And so people need support when they're going through a divorce. Right. So really my business is like the Angie's List of divorce. If you're getting divorced, you can go to my site. You can find all kinds of wonderful divorce professionals to help you. And not just for divorce, for dating after divorce as well.
Right. And so divorce rates have, I went, when we decided to have you on, I went and looked up a little bit more about divorce. And what I found was that divorce rates, surprising to me, have actually gone down since 1980. But there have been some increase in divorce, and they happen to be, and they're coined gray divorces. So this age group of 50 plus, that is the group that's increasing in divorces. Is this correct?
Yes, that is absolutely true.
And I mean, obviously there are a couple of reasons. The one that I've heard a lot, because I'm in that area, is empty nesters, and sort of your kids go off to college, and so people sort of start to realize that. But I would think there are other reasons that are there.
Let me interact in here. I think to me there is three ways to look at the divorce. Okay, the first one is the two of them realize that they don't have anything in common anymore, and they want an amicable divorce. Okay, and that's the very easy way to separate. We still remain friends. We move on. The second is when the man files for the divorce because he has an affair. So there is a lot of anger, resentment. There is a lot of fight there, okay? Or the woman has an affair and the man is angry, and then there is the divorce attorney get involved, and then he blow to a proportion where the kids are affected and everything. So I've always said, and I've been to a divorce myself, okay? So I understand what it is. I went to a very amicable divorce, my first one. We check in, we kiss, we move on. We had a daughter. My second divorce was a little bit more difficult because I had two children. There was a lot of emotion. And hiring an attorney and basically the job, and again, you get me if I'm wrong, but I think the attorney, it's a business, okay? It's like I'm in the hair business, but it's a business. They know exactly what you have. They know exactly your bank account, your saving, your real estate, your property, everything. And I think, to me, the problem I have is they're trying to get as much as they can from you, okay, by trying to make the two of you resent each other to fight. So I've always suggested then go to a mediator, go to somebody who's going to be able to make you understand that it is much easier for you, health of the children, and your finance to go to an advisor. What do you think of that?
Okay. Perfect. That's the reason I'm in business. So that's changing. What you're saying is very true, but I find it changing even since I got divorced in 2008. We went to divorce attorneys. We litigated. We went to mediation as a formality. We couldn't stand each other. We had a terrible divorce. We're okay co-parents, but it could have been a lot better had we had the resources. And that's why I'm in business. I tell people who are getting divorced, a divorce coach is a must. Now, people say, what does a divorce coach do? They walk you through and hold your hand during the divorce and help you with your anger issues, your feelings of resentment. They tell you, give you tools so that you can be more amicable in your divorce, because it's going to cost you less. It's going to take so much less time, and your kids are going to be so much better off. So you are 100% right. And so on Divorce Girl Smiling, you can find mediators, divorce coaches. I'm not going to say that nobody needs divorce attorneys anymore, they're wonderful divorce attorneys on the Divorce Girl Smiling site, but you have to use them in the right way. They're only responsible for part of your divorce, 25% of your divorce. The rest, you need a real estate expert tell you how much the home is really worth. Is it going to need a new roof in 10 years? Is that really the value of the home? I could go on and on, but you need a divorce team to help you get divorced. And when I say that, people might think, oh, that sounds really expensive. But the money you're going to save with the attorney and the good relationship you're going to have with your former spouse is worth every penny.
So go ahead,
Getting
Jimmy,
back to, I think, again, where we're focused on is this sort of later in life, right? And so what are some of the differences that you're seeing of people that are navigating this later in life than earlier?
Okay, so I was only married for 7 years. I did not go through a gray divorce. Mm-hmm. But what I will tell you about all the women, and I've been doing this since 2014, everybody got married young who's like in their 50s and 60s and 70s. We got married young, not me, but they got married young. So now they're seeing all of these other women. People are living longer. They're reinventing themselves at an older age. I started Divorce Girl Smiling when I was 50. Mm-hmm. I mean, think about it. So people now see you don't have to die unhappy and stay in this terrible relationship that isn't working for you anymore. Our grandmothers did that, but now you don't have to do that. And they're seeing that they could live into their 80s and 90s. And am I going to spend the last 20 years of my life with this miserable person next to me? I deserve to be happy. That's what people are thinking. And that's why gray divorces are so prevalent.
Exactly. And I think that's why, again, this Golden Bachelor show is so amazing and such a great sort of platform to talk about this and see that there are these women who have thought. I mean, these are gorgeous women, gorgeous, successful women.
I want to know how they look so good.
Well, they look great.
Because they all look amazing.
They do.
These women.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting ready for their TV ready, but they're beautiful. But I want to say, I think just as equal as the beauty is their success and just what they have all accomplished. But yet each one of them we've seen in a confessional sort of say, I just thought I was, done. I wasn't sure that I was going to feel this way again. So yes, it took them to go on TV maybe to feel that way. And we're talking to women at home that, you're not going to necessarily have that chance, but hopefully this will inspire you. And things like Divorce Girl Smiling are communities that sort of show you that there are these people that can help you through this and get to that other side. So love
but
that.
let me ask you a question. You have a girl smiling. You podcast is based only on. Jimmy and I interact. She's the woman. I'm the man. Yeah. Okay, and for example, when I saw the show yesterday, okay. 80%, 90% of them were women in the audience. There was barely no men. Okay, well, that's one thing. But you girls smiling focus on women, or do you have any men in there? Because men goes to the same struggle.
It's about the girl smiling. I know, but you'll be fine.
No, my site.
What do you mean it'll be fun?
No, my site is 30% men go to my site and 70% women.
Okay.
Because think about it. If you're a man going through a divorce, men aren't talkers. They're not going to call their friends and go, hey, I'm so depressed tonight. Can we just talk? That's what women do. Mm-hmm. But men Google, my wife left me. How am I going to be happy again? How do I meet someone? They're Googling. Well, guess what's coming up? Articles from Divorce Girl Smiling. So we know in our Google Analytics that 30% of the people who listen to the podcast and go to the site are men and 70% are women.
So is the how you call what is the biggest reason of a divorce? Some people divorce because of a financial situation. Some people divorce because the sex is not there anymore. The communication. Why people getting divorced?
Oh my gosh! So I don't want to be judgmental. This might not be a good thing to say.
No,
but I'm going to say it anyway
because
it's
we're
honest.
opinion here.
I believe there's two things: either a guy cheats and leaves, or a woman is not happy. I don't believe women leave for another man as much as men leave for another woman. There's either the woman who is saying, I want to reinvent myself. I have probably 20 years left, hopefully 30, and I want a happy life, and this isn't working for me. Or a man meets someone else. Now, I'm not saying all men are like that, and I'm not saying no women cheat. Women definitely cheat, and there's some men who are really not, they don't leave. It just isn't working for them. But another big one is addiction. That's maybe the number one reason. And yes, finances is huge. I've had women say to me, my husband blew our whole savings. We're broke. Well, now, you have resentment, you have fear. They have to go back to work, and they're angry at the husband, and the marriage isn't going to survive it.
Yeah. What do you think are the biggest hurdles that people encounter, again, later in life to maybe moving on after divorce? So you've written, I'm sorry to interrupt. You wrote some great, like the things you've learned, and you keep adding to that. Is that right? I love that. So yeah, what do you think?
Okay, I think that the number one reason people don't get divorced is fear of being alone. Nobody wants to be alone, and everybody's scared of loneliness, and it's a valid concern. And I think it's such a painful emotion, being alone. I feel terrible for people. But there's being alone and there's being lonely. Right. I'm not saying you have to find somebody or you're not going to have a happy life. No. I'm talking about creating a life for yourself that makes you happy, that fills you with joy, that gives your life meaning. Then you're not going to be lonely.
Yes.
So meeting somebody should just be like the added bonus. I always tell women, don't get divorced to try to go up. Like, I'm going to meet somebody better. The reason for getting divorced should be, this situation is not working for me. And if I'm alone the rest of my life, that's okay.
Yeah.
Not that they're going to be, but you don't leave just because you want to try to get somebody better.
I think that is great advice. That's the whole grass is not greener idea. So I think that's good. Again, your whole theme of Divorce Girl Smiling is about being happy and sort of finding happiness. What is a way that you think that a step to that happiness, or what do you think is the path to it?
I think that you have to find the love of your life, and the love of your life is your passion. What gives your life meaning? That could be anything from a hobby to a business to volunteering to a group of friends to hiking. Whatever you love, go do it and surround yourself with people who make you feel good about yourself and who you enjoy being around. And then the rest comes naturally. That is the key. And it's very hard for people to figure out what makes them happy. There's women who say, I started crying because I don't even know what makes me happy anymore.
Do you think then a woman needs to be independent in a way where they have a career? I think to me, I've seen the successful marriage is when they both have a career. They both the bread maker. They both in the same level. Because it seemed like, to me, then they get married and the man's built up a career. The woman end up being a housewife. And, when you
There's
become...
resentment.
Huh?
There can be resentment there.
Yeah, there could be resentment.
Yes.
That was one part of mine, to be quite honest with you. I put my wife through school to become a nurse, and I didn't need her money, but I wanted her to have a career. If anything happened to me, I wanted her to be independent. And then as soon as we got a children, she didn't want to work anymore. She said, no, I want to take care of my kid. And then by her taking care of our children, we lost that fire, we lost that communication, because her life was surrounded around our children. They wasn't surrounded around us. I said to her, why don't we hire a nanny, have the nanny taking care of the children during the day, go mingle, go walk, and then at night, let's come up and talk, how was your day, how was my day, and let's enjoy our children. I think to me also the thing is people stay together because of the children. Okay, they don't want the children to go to drama. And then when the children are gone, they look at themselves and say, okay, now what? They're gone, it's just and I. And that's why I believe that the divorce gets later on in life. Am I right?
Okay, I love what you just said.
I know, I know. Everybody love what I said.
He loves hearing that.
I love to hear that. Keep said again. Come on.
Okay, wait. And I have another huge compliment for you.
Thank you.
But what I want to say to you is that if I have a daughter, I have a son and a daughter, I always tell my daughter, don't ever stop working after you get married and have kids. Get a nanny or go to daycare. 100%.
100%.
Because it's not even about the money, which for me,
It's
it was
not about
a
the money.
huge financial setback that I didn't work after I had kids. But also, it's self-esteem. It's getting up and getting ready every day and looking nice. It's having to say something to your husband other than, how was your day with the kids?
In the park.
Yes. And also, I want to tell people listening, I have nothing against stay-at-home moms. If that's what you want to do, I'm just saying for me, I didn't enjoy it. I felt frumpy. I was in sweats all day. I didn't like my life at that point. And I loved my children, but I didn't appreciate them half as much as I would have had I worked, been making money, had a career, and then come home and see the kids. Big mistake.
I mean, I totally agree with you. I think to me, and I've said that all the time, woman has to, in a marriage, in a relationship, there is three lives. There is your life, there is my life, and our life we build together. I think it is very important for me to have a woman, and it's not about the amount of money they make. Okay, forget about that. It's just self-esteem, knowing that they have something going on for themselves.
Yeah. I agree with all that. We are a two-career household, and I think it's really worked for us. Where we constantly, our biggest competition is who's busier. That's what we love to do, is talk about who's busier. And I win. No, I'm just kidding. So what I think too is this idea that there are going to be rocks in the road, like big giant boulders. I mean, I'm no expert, believe me, because we have our own stuff. But I just that would you say too that sometimes if you could just get through those patches and get to the other side, and I often wonder, are people moving toward that separation or divorce because it's a really hard time, but they could get past it? Or how do you know when you can get past something or when it is this avalanche?
Great question.
Oh, see, now I have a good
one.
Okay, wait.
Good question,
But
Jimmy.
I still haven't given you the other compliment, which relates to this whole thing.
Okay.
But I do want to say, I have a friend who's been married for like 40 years.
Okay.
And she said to me at one point, I thought at one point we were going to get divorced, and it was a terrible year. And I was just like, I'm done with this. And they made it through, and they're doing great, really, really happy people. So yes, of course, people are always going to have peaks and valleys in their relationships. But how do you know when it's time to leave? When you've exhausted everything and you've gone to 3 different therapists. You've talked to your husband or your wife so often and told them how you feel, and they're just not listening, you know?
Yeah.
So, okay, let me tell you the compliment.
Yeah, give me the compliment. I like the compliment. Tell me the compliment.
So I want to tell you, I've been watching The Bachelor and Bachelorette for like 20 years, whatever, because it was a way for me to spend time with my daughter when she was a teenager.
Yes.
Didn't even really like the show that much, but I was like, okay. But then I would get into it, and I really liked it. I always wondered one thing. How can all these people be in love with this person? There's got to be a couple of people who are thinking to themselves, this really isn't it for me. You are the first person that ever just said, I'm sorry, I really like you, but I don't see this going any further. And I respected the hell out of that, because I don't know why these people, maybe they just talk themselves into it, or they feel like they're not allowed to do it. You were really honest about it, and you did the girl Joan a huge favor, and you did yourself a favor, and you sent the message to every woman who's over 50. Stop focusing on like, does he like me? Does he like me? Ask yourself, do I like him? You were honest. That was authentic, and I was extremely impressed.
Thank you. I mean, I just think that, when I went, I never watched the show before I got into The Bachelor. That was new for me. And now it seemed like I'm very much into it. Okay, obviously, I become Jimmy and I become an expert.
We're both experts in this
We're
now.
both experts of the show. And so I just felt like I didn't have enough time to get to know her. I mean, developing feeling takes time, okay? I had the overnight date with her, which I had the chance to spend more time than anyone else did on their one-on-one date. And I've realized then Chuck and guys were way more ahead of me with their feeling. And I didn't want to interfere with their chance and their opportunity because I know how they felt. And I said to myself, it's better for me to leave because I'm not near there. I need more time. I'm a communicator. I like to ask tons of questions. And that's why I'm very deep as a person. I'm complex. And to me, I don't fall in love that easy. I mean, could I be attracted? Have I been infatuation? Yes. Have I been in love in the past? Yes. No doubt in my mind. We've talked about when we have in common my old girlfriend who I was very much in love with. But no, I think you have to be honest with your feeling, and then the tend to not leading people on.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I struggle with that because I have said before that I don't know that that I question some of these women and men who say that they're in love. But I also do think you can develop feelings for people quite quickly depending on who it is. Is it love? I don't know. It's how do we define that love? And I mean, do you define love by having to know someone inside and out, their middle name, their, everything about them? I don't know. But I think we have to use more words in there. It's like, is there this chemistry? Is there this connection and all these things that could be love, and then given more time, they could develop into something that's stronger. So,
as a man point of view, I think, first of all, visual attraction, we're very superficial and shallow.
Yes.
Let's be realistic. It's got to be there. And the second thing is the chemistry. Men
There's some shallow ladies, too.
I mean, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, women like good-looking guy, I mean, no doubt.
Just as long as you know that.
Yeah, I mean, believe me. I mean, I'm aware of it. I'm around them. Okay. So, and the second thing, I think it's chemistry. I think sex is extremely important into a relationship. Mm-hmm. And if you have a chemistry and you enjoy your partner sexually, you could resolve a lot of issues. Is when sex starts fading away because of the resentment, because of the argument, and it seems like women has tendency to take sex as a weapon. Okay, I've been there where, no, I'm not going to have sex with you because you were an asshole today. So I think, to me, those are the two big elements. And communication, to be able to talk to them about your feeling, how you feel, without raising your voice, without using cursing words, and being able to agree to disagree. And I've always said, never go to bed hungry because you wake up hungry. That's...
Angry? Hungry and angry?
Angry and hungry. Okay, you know what I'm talking about.
I love making fun.
I'm not hungry, but I'm hungry.
So
okay, wait. Yes, but I have to defend the using sex as a weapon because I think Jamie and I are both going to agree.
I know, I was
this.
sort of,
Okay, go ahead.
So it's not that we use it as a weapon. It is that no woman wants to have sex. It's so emotional for us. If a guy ignores us or is being mean, we don't want to have sex with that. If a guy empties the dishwasher, I swear this is so true, or does something kind and thoughtful, that's a turn on to a woman. Yeah. So there's turn ons and turn offs that are so subtle and they go so far past the bedroom. It starts in the kitchen. It starts with every little thing, a little post-it note.
Up, I am so into him.
And when we're like feeling so like, oh my gosh, that's so cute that he did that for me. Now I want to have sex. If we're feeling like, wow, he was a real jerk to me. Well, who wants to have sex with that? So it's not a weapon. It's just that women think at way far in advance about, and the sex comes later.
Yeah.
So it's a lot different.
And I think where you're going, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but I think I'm hearing more about the intimacy that sex provides. And so I think...
The closeness, the intimacy.
Closeness,
this is as close as you get to your partner.
If you go too long without that, I think that...
I think men get frustrated.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, men get
Well,
frustrated.
it definitely connects people. And you're right. If there's like something you're arguing about, it just becomes like not even an issue after the sex because you feel closer and you feel connected on a different level. Yeah. So it's extremely important.
Yeah. What I want to talk a little bit about here is what we've been seeing on The Golden Bachelor. And we've talked a lot about, where's the soapbox for Pascal to get on to talk about Mel and all of his issues. But one of them that we talked about, and you said at the start, is that was he really ready for all of this? And, is there an actual time? I think that we've heard that he got divorced like maybe a year ago or something, or maybe he was in the divorce for a couple years and then maybe it finalized. We don't know all the details.
His wife just got remarried. You know that.
Yes, remarried. Yes. And so I think where I'm going with this, though, Jackie, and love to hear your thoughts, is on this idea of how does that inform their behaviors and, going through a bitter divorce or some infidelity, how does that then affect how you talk with, on a date, or how some of the women that we saw seemed gun shy a little bit. Carol seemed gun shy in a little bit. Maybe that had something to do with her previous relationship. Maybe some of the other women too. And certainly Mel, he's not in practice of talking to someone who he's not married to, it seems, and who he has to really make an effort with. Although these women, it doesn't matter.
I cannot believe he's only been divorced for a couple years.
Yeah.
That's shocking to me.
Why did you, because...
I didn't know that.
Okay. But I was going to say because of what you're seeing or because of just maybe...
Why would ABC want him to be on The Bachelor after that short of a time? And why would he want to go on there at that... But it makes a lot of sense because the number one thing I see on my website, people coming to Divorce Girl Smiling, right away they want to meet someone. They want to get remarried. I'm not judging at all. I was the same way. I got divorced. I started looking for husband number 2 right away. It was a huge mistake. All it did was set me back in my own happiness and have me date all the wrong people in terrible relationships. So I'm not judging anybody. But by nature, when you get divorced, you just want to be with someone again because you're not used to being by yourself. It's uncomfortable. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel normal. And so people get married again way too quickly. I call second divorces mulligans sometimes. It's like you just fell in love and took it too far and you got married. Okay, big deal, get a divorce. It's much easier than the first divorce. But it happens a lot because people don't want to be alone. They think they're in love. They put a Band-Aid on all of their issues and they just get remarried. And I'm just telling people, you don't have to be alone. You should date, get in relationships. Just don't get remarried.
Focus on you. Focus on yourself.
Yes.
Try to get to know what you want. Where, you were married for 10, 15, 20 years. All of a sudden, boom, you're a single man. And you want to jump into a relationship, figure out a little bit who you are, what type of person you are. Do the 10 you enjoy to do. And the 10, I say, don't chase. Let it come organically. I never went for my divorce and all of a sudden go into the bar and try to find a partner. I just focus on my photography, I focus on my work, I focus on my fitness, and I focus on my friend. And if something happen along the way, I embrace it. But I think going from a 20 years marriage to a marriage right away after that, from what I hear, again, I think those are statistics. 75% of the second marriage get divorced.
Of the
70%.
75% of the second marriage get divorced.
And third marriage is 85%.
85%.
Wow.
So that's why I said I will never get remarried again.
Right.
I mean, I think at this point in my age, in my life, I would like to find a significant partner and live together and have a great time. But there is no need of getting married.
Now, has The Bachelor ever talked about getting all 3 seasons, getting everyone together? Because all of these people who have been on the 3 shows should all be connecting.
Well, they do. They have Bachelor in Paradise. And so that's...
But for the young one, that's the first time they did Bachelor in Paradise. And they included few of them. They asked me to be part of it, but I just didn't want to be involved with the women. I had no interest in them. And I'm not the kind of guy who's going to try to flirt with you if I have no interest. That's my personality.
I want to go back because you had mentioned when you gave your compliment to Pascal and he accepted
What
it
compliment
so
did you give me again?
It was the compliment
What is the compliment?
that you had said to Joan, this is just, I'm not feeling it. And you basically had said, you volunteered for that. Carol did the same on this particular show a couple weeks back. And that's why I was at the beginning of our show today, I was saying, I wish that they had, at the Women Tell All, talked to her a little bit about that, because I think that is a big step for a woman, especially in a competition like this, to say, not just out in the wild of dating, to say, hey, I'm not into you, but in a competition like this, to pull yourself out of something.
And to give up all that TV time and the opportunities and the clothes and the outfits and the makeup.
Remember,
there's a lot you're giving up.
You buying the contestant are buying their own wardrobes. Okay, the only clothes you are provided is for the Bachelor or the Bachelorette. That's it.
Right,
I didn't know
that.
I
think the idea, though, that Jackie and I are talking about is that, as I fix my necklace, but is that you're just sort of opting out of something that you don't know. I guess she had feeling, she knew it, and she maybe wanted to go home. I'm sure it's also people, it could be lonely there in a way. And maybe she thought other people, like you did, other women were having stronger feelings, and she just wasn't there. Maybe the contrast of that struck her. And so whatever it was, we won't know because she didn't talk about it. But I think that theme, that idea that you were saying is of people to just know what you want and think about you. It's not just, will he like me? It's like you said, do I like them?
It's about self-worth, self-esteem, and saying, I deserve only the perfect. And I'm going to use the word perfect.
There is no perfect.
No, I'm not saying perfect. What I mean by perfect is perfect for you.
Mm-hmm.
What fits you, what is you need.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And at this stage in our lives, how can we expect anything less? Like I interviewed a dating coach once who told me, well, I tell my clients they should be happy 75% of the time. And I go, 75% of the time? That's like 4 days a week, 5 days a week.
Right.
No, 96% of the time you should be happy. Okay. Of course, it's not going to be perfect, but you deserve, especially after going through a divorce, or if you're over 40, let's say, to have a relationship that truly you can be yourself, that you love every day, and that you are just happy together. What is the purpose of a relationship? Joy, meaningfulness.
But you're not going to feel that all the time. But I mean, hopefully there is a baseline that's there and that you could do it. I'm curious, what is one of the biggest myths that you think that exists around divorce for people, particularly later in life?
I'm never going to meet anyone. That's everyone thinks that.
Right.
Everyone says that.
Most likely for women or men?
A lot of men, but mostly women.
Mostly women.
Not for Pascal, but
No. I mean, we've talked with the matchmaker a couple of weeks ago, and we talk about a woman of the age and a man of the same age, their dating expectation.
Yes.
And it's much easier for a man than it is for a woman. I mean, it's sad to say, but that as the men get older, okay, it's easier for him to date as a woman get older.
because the pool is bigger for him because he tends to go younger.
Yes.
And women tend to date their age because we just don't probably have it. So I think the pool of people from men is older. What are some steps, Jackie, that you recommend for people who might be contemplating a divorce or sort of starting in on this at this time?
The best thing, if you're thinking about a divorce or you're right at the beginning, is to get information to empower yourself, because you don't know anything. It's all going to be new. So you need to sit down with, and I'm sorry, I have to say, go to divorcegirlsmiling.com
Yes.
and find all of my professionals have been vetted by me and my advisory board. Talk to a divorce lawyer. Maybe you don't even know if you want to get divorced, but talk to the divorce lawyer, have a consultation. Go talk to a divorce coach. Have a consult with her. Talk to a mortgage lender. Find out if you're going to be able to keep your house. Some people decide not to get divorced because they say, you are going to have to move out of your house. You can't afford this by yourself. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but that's a decision you have to make.
It's much easier to get divorced when you get nothing than when you get something.
That's true.
Okay, I mean, look, when my first divorce, I didn't have a pal to pee on. And it was like, I give you $1,500, goodbye, good luck, thank you, I love you, you love me. My second divorce, I built up a wealth, and that was much more challenging because of the lifestyle we were living. So I think, to me, money, my father said, it's not about the money, it's about the money.
It's always about the money.
It's always about the money. So when there is money involved, I think divorce gets difficult, regardless. If you go to mediator or stuff like that, I think that nobody wants to part with their money.
Yeah.
Right.
It sounds like, so get informed, get inspired, because there is something else out there if you want. And are those the two things?
I mean,
Believe in yourself. Believe in
informed,
yourself.
that's right.
Believe in yourself.
Yes, right.
Okay. Try to find yourself. Try to keep yourself busy about the thing you enjoy to do. Build up your own personality, your own feels. And I think you will feel much better than just trying to go from a marriage to another marriage just because you were married.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And give yourself some grace.
And definitely you need to be in therapy. And if people are listening and rolling their eyes, I'm sorry.
This is therapy, right?
This is therapy.
I mean, you really need to figure out, and it takes time. It's not going to happen overnight. And the other tip I was going to say is listen to your gut.
Okay.
It speaks to you and will tell you if getting divorced is the right thing.
Right.
And you could go back and forth for a long time, but if that gut keeps gnawing at you like, this isn't working, change is really uncomfortable, divorce isn't easy, it's a long journey, but you can do it if you believe in yourself, like Pascal said, and you really believe that you deserve a happy life.
Thank you so much. This has been such a great conversation. I know that our audience has been enjoying it and gotten a lot out of it. And it's just such a pleasure to have you here with us. So you guys go to Divorce Girl Smiling for any information for you, yourself, or for a friend, right? Check out Divorce Girl Smiling, the book. And then you also have Who Let the Dogs Out, another book, which I love. So go ahead and get this. And, we want you to all subscribe. I was going to do a contest, but he won't let me do it. But maybe soon.
Yeah.
Maybe soon. I have a really cool idea. I'm trying to convince him. But subscribe. Keep the comments coming. We've been responding to them, and we love them. And we've even changed a couple things based on your comments. We added our cool pictures today because we've had a couple of comments about that. What else? You get our last word.
Last word. I think I hope our audience get enlightened by what you have to say. My tens, he says, just be independent, believe in yourself, and then just don't settle for less than what you deserve. Yeah. You are a special person in your own ways, and just.
That.
I know.
That's what it is.
Sweet.
And then follow us because we love, particularly you comment. We love you comment. Next week we're having a big guest. We're not going to reveal who it is. Okay, but please follow us next week. It's going to be a very interesting podcast.
Yeah, it's going to be great. All right.
You wrap it up.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.